Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy Cultist, back again with another logic video. Today we're going to be discussing how to make Invulnerability. And we're also going to kind of use Crash Bandicoot as a basis for this, technique. Although it could apply to almost any kind of game, really. Mario, anything where you pick up an invulnerability power-up. So first thing you'll want is a microchip. Open it with L1 and X to see inside, and if you want to rename it, just click up here with X. We'll call it Invulnerability. First thing you're going to need is a trigger zone to act as a hitbox or something of that nature. We'll make it square. And all this is going to do is make it so that when we walk up to our power-up, we'll pick it up. Make sure that this is labeled properly and set the zone to detect tag. This is going to act as our power-up. I've also made it entirely non-collidable inside the group, so just keep that in mind. These spikes, which are going to act as a hazard, are also non-collidable. But let's go ahead and put the kind of necessary logic we'll be needing. We'll want a tag labeled pick up. Make sure it's all properly spaced and has the right case. Uppercase P, uppercase U. Make sure that is the case. We're going to put a little counter down here. I've also got a splash effect for when you pick it up. Just to add to the good looks of it. Make it more convincing. And we're going to put a destroyer on here because we really don't want it to be active very long. And we're going to put a zone. We're going to label this Invulnerable. Make it very wide so that we make sure we get our player in there. Don't make it too wide though. There's no reason to go beyond the limits. You could set it to unseen if you want to make absolutely sure, but I don't think that's necessary. There's no way the player is going to be outside this zone when this thing's triggered anyway. And we might as well set the speed to 100%. And set it to play once. Or I should say 200% speed. And we're also going to need an invulnerability status effect. So let's go ahead and put out a timeline, set it to play once. And we're going to want another... Actually, what we're going to want is a tag. A tag labeled Invulnerable. And that should do it nicely. Now let's just slide it up here. I might connect a node just in case I change my mind about how to wire this up later, but I don't want to put a playback prevention method, because I think it would be good if you could pick up the invulnerability power-up and have it, you know, begin from the beginning all over again. But if you want to prevent playback, it's as simple as connecting a NOT gate to the power and adding this switch, and that would be the duration of the playback, you know, however long you make this switch. Up and down arrows on the D-pad can extend its duration. But I really don't see any reason to do that in this case. But here's the simple key to invulnerability. Stamp out an action recorder, set it to keyframe mode. And over here, in the health manager, press L1 and square, and we'll see this thing here, damage multiplier. Now this can control your invulnerability. Basically, if you set this to 0, your incoming damage will be 0, and your puppet will be fundamentally invulnerable to everything except for fall damage. HP. Now there's another way to make your character invulnerable that I'll talk about real quick. Over here, we'll set our player to be called a friend. At least he'll be labeled that. Which means he can be damaged by any health modifier labeled to damage friend. But one way you can make him invulnerable, I don't really know why you would want to do this, but basically, if you use a keyframe to turn off that he's a friend, that would make him invulnerable to anything that's supposed to damage a friend. Now the main reason why I don't like using this method is, one, it's outdated. The only usage it had was before this existed, so it's just... It also makes it difficult for the player to interact with things he normally would, because a lot of things I use detect the player and use that to trigger them properly, so it'd be kind of dumb to shut that off. He wouldn't be able to interact with a lot of stuff, but you might use it if you have some specific reason, because you never know. You know, there are certain instances in which that might be applicable, but I think it's mostly an outdated method, and I wouldn't use it. But just in case, I want to mention it to the, you know, people get their own ideas out here, and they're like, oh, actually, that's just perfect for the thing I want to do, you know. And maybe it makes sense in that context of whatever they're doing. It's just, I don't use it very often. I used to use it before the damage multiplier was added. But let's put out a timeline here, set it to 200%, set it to loop. And all this is going to do is add a little effect that I want. I want to like make a glowing effect. Luckily it's really easy. We can just use a text displayer, type out GGGGG, set it to in scene, set it to sticker mode, and allow rotation. We'll also increase the depth. But this is all I want to do, is just create like a bright effect to demonstrate his invulnerability. And we'll probably need 2 of these. So they overlap. And we're going to hook up a switch real quick. It's only for testing purposes though. You don't need this. It's just to test how this is going to look. That might be a bit too much on that. We'll shorten the duration a bit. I don't want to give people seizures. Yeah, that's better. You could also decrease the brightness a bit. Might be too much. Let's go ahead and test it again. Alright, I think that'll do for our effect. You could also add a sound effect in here, but I'm not really going to bother with that. And if you want to, I guess, increase the duration, just pull the timeline forward with X, and you should have a longer invulnerability window. You could also increase his speed if you wanted to, by just taking a keyframe and pressing L1 and square when you're outside of his zone. You could just increase his speed if you wanted to whatever. That's sometimes a thing that they do in these games, but yeah, let's get down to business now in terms of we're going to have to actually have a way for him to get damaged, so I'm going to go over here and make these spikes a hazardous element real quick. And they're non-collidable, again, just reminding you, you don't really want them to be collidable because then the player will get all glitched on them and such. And it's pretty simple to make them hazardous. Add a health modifier, set it to zone. There are other ways, but this is just the simplest and quickest one. And just make it so it only damages player. And I'm going to go ahead and test our damage, just to show you that our player can indeed be... Oh, interesting. Oh, I know what it is. We set it at 1. It should be 100 because our player's health is 100. He probably was hurt, it just didn't kill him, and I have no way to signify damage, so... You know, I don't have any hurt animation or anything. So we'll just kill him as a signifier of damage. Anyway, we've clearly demonstrated that he can die. Now let's check out our power up here. I might add a little rotator just to kind of make it more, you know, look nice. Not really necessary though, just a fun little thing, you know. So we'll pick it up and see if it starts our invulnerability. Yep, we're invulnerable. And now we can walk straight through the spikes and they don't hurt us. Also, if you wanted to do that thing in Crash Bandicoot, there's this thing where he can actually destroy certain obstacles. I would just add a zone. Call it destroy. And if you add this to the timeline, maybe put it out in front of him a bit, it'll make it so that when he automatically goes near something, it'll destroy itself. If it has a tag labeled destroy on it, of course. But I'll just throw that in there just in case you're interested in how that works. I think Mario has a similar mechanic where when he's invulnerable, he destroys enemies and certain obstacles. Alright, let's pick it up. And there goes the obstacle. And that's all there is to say about invulnerability. It's pretty much as simple as messing around with this thing. There's also an option for increasing the cooldown time, which basically makes, you know, you invulnerable after... Like, if you wanted to have it so that after you're hit, you're invulnerable for, like, a second or so, just add 1 to the cool time, and that'll basically do that. Give you a window of invulnerability after getting hurt, if you're interested in that. But that's pretty much all the subject matter I can think of on this particular thing. So... thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. If you would like to support us financially, consider clicking the join button to become a member and unlock perks. You can also leave a super thanks in the comments, which we would appreciate, or a one-time donation on Ko-fi, link in the description. That's all for now. Goodbye.